Well, I just know you have been waiting with bated breath since last week to find out if I finished reading Dear Jane Austen or not. Well, today is the day. Now is the moment. You are going to find out. Did I finish reading Dear Jane Austen or did I not? It is Saturday morning, yesterday, when I finished filming last week's weekly reading vlog, my weekly wonderings and wonderings. It was July 31st, and I had one more day to add a book to my deck of TBR-a-thon. I was reading Dear Jane Austen, and initially when I picked it up, my plan was to read the whole thing and try to read it in a day. But as I got going, it wasn't super compelling, and I wasn't really wanting to finish it. Then I had a decision to make. Do I bother reading any more? Or do I try to read enough pages so that it could qualify, at least, for the deck of TBR-a-thon? I was at a point where it was the end of July. I couldn't start my August reading until today, because today is the beginning of the Prairie Trail Readathon, and I didn't want to start those books early. I didn't have anything else to read other than Common Sense, and I didn't have the brain power for that because my son gave me whatever bug he had, so that's great. Yeah, it was, do I want to read 50 more pages in this book or not? And that's where I ended my video. Ladies and gentlemen, I did, in fact, read 50 more pages of this book. And I was able to submit it for the deck of TBR-a-thon. But I'm not reading any further in it. It's a DNF for me, but not because it's terrible. Let me tell you the good stuff first. I really feel the author, Patrice Hannon, she really captures Jane's voice, more or less, as well as someone can. And did I say the title of this book? Dear Jane Austen, A Heroine's Guide to Life and Love by Patrice Hannon. So it's basically like Aunt Agony letters, women mostly writing to Jane Austen and asking for her advice on life and love and, other mysteries. Let me know if you catch that reference. So that's what the premise is, which sounds fun and cute, right? And it is. Like she's captured Jane Austen's voice as well as anybody could who's not Jane. She obviously has a thorough understanding of, and what's more, appreciation for Jane's books. She has fully grasped Jane's perspective on many things, which a lot of more recent authors fail to do. This book was written in 2005, so 20 years ago. I find more current authors tend to impress modern 21st century views onto Jane Austen, and I think they err in doing that. But there's none of that in here. She's taking Jane at face value, which I think is the best way to take her. So I loved her responses to the letters in here using the voice of Jane. I love her analysis of the books because in the end, that's what it is. Each letter is going through the different characters. It's deep character analysis and all of Jane Austen's characters and the way they responded to certain situations and what we can learn from them. Who was good, who was not good, who made good choices, who made bad choices, who learned from their choices, etc. In that sense, it's masterfully done. So it's not like a 1 or 2 star book for me. That's not why I'm DNFing it. I think it's the structure of it, the format of it that was a drawback for me. Instead of just presenting it as Aunt Agony letters, she's trying to frame it more like a story. And so she has some narrative woven throughout in between the letters that are being exchanged. The narrative sets Jane in a time and place, in a real time and place towards the end of her life in Chawton. It has her mingling with her family and friends and neighbors and relations and living her daily life then. But the problem is she is writing letters to people from the 20th century. They're writing her and she's answering them. She has an omniscient knowledge of everything that's happened in the world since she died and our time now. And she has like this understanding of who she, like how the world perceived her after she was gone. It's just awkward. I didn't understand that choice. I think she's mimicking Jane's style of narrative that she's famous for, her omniscient perspective and her indirect discourse. So I think it's a nod to Jane in that way, but it doesn't work, in my opinion. In my opinion only, which doesn't count for anything. But it was taking away from my enjoyment of the book. And in the end, I was like, okay, I'm enjoying it. On the one hand, I'm enjoying the analysis of Jane's characters and her writing, and I'm appreciating all of that, but not enough. to keep reading it. So that's a DNF. For the Prairie Trail Readathon, which starts today, I drew cards. And the first one I drew was Sod House, which is Go Touch Grass, social media fast. I can't do that today. I will try to do that tomorrow. Sunday is a good day to do that. So I'm going to try and do that tomorrow. And then I picked Loneliness and Isolation. And I had two options. I went with the one from my shelf and not the one from the library, even though I wanted to read the one from the library more. But I picked this one, Women's Diaries of the Westward Journey. So I'm going to start that today. And then I wanted a fiction, so I picked a card hoping it would lead me to a fiction choice. And I got Fire. So the one that fit that best that's on my stack is a library book. But, we're going to go with it. Where the Lost Wander by Harmon, which I've been wanting to read for a while. That's what I'm going to read today. Today's a busy day. In a minute, I'm going to go with my husband to the farmer's market. We have to get my nephew a birthday present. When my children come home from watching a movie, which is where they are right now, we have to bring them to Maryland. They're going with my in-laws to church camp for a week. And then we have to come back here for said nephew's birthday party. And then tonight is my live for the Prairie Trail kickoff. So crazy busy evening, crazy busy day. I got a lot to do and I don't feel well. So this is going to be fun. Here we go.
My name is Anne, and I am obsessed with the Too Good To Go app. It's a good thing that I'm going to be going back to school in less than a month, and I won't have time to be doing all these pickup of stuff different places. That app is awesome if you've never tried it. It's like clearance, but for restaurants and other sorts of places that have food, even grocery stores. Whole Foods is on there. So, at least in my area. Now, those get snapped up really fast. So, I've only ever picked up from Whole Foods once. But I've picked up from coffee shops, cafes, and just now I picked up at Rubeck's Smoothies. And look at this.
And a acai bowl and a smoothie. I mean, that's amazing. Now, it's late. And I've already eaten dinner. I don't need to be eating anything. I may have a little bit of this smoothie. The bummer is you don't always know, what it is. Because some places don't really label their stuff. It looks strawberry-ish to me. We got ice cream from Brewster's last night. And we were guessing at what the ice creams were. We knew one was strawberry. One I had was Rocky Road. There was another one. We thought it tasted like honeydew. But we were like, do they have a honeydew ice cream? We didn't know. Oh my goodness. That looks so good. I don't remember what I paid for this one. Like $6 or $7 for the whole order. Which I don't go to Robeck's really. So I don't know how much it would cost. But I'm guessing probably about twice that much for this. Anyway, it's fun. Because you don't know what you're going to get. There've been a couple of things that I haven't loved. One of the things Whole Foods got me was a tempeh sandwich. I've never had tempeh before. I don't want it. I threw that away. But thankfully there was other stuff as well that I ate in that. But anyway, so fun. So this lovely bouquet was at the farmer's market. Plus I bought this sunflower at another vendor. The sunflower was $2 and the rest of the bouquet was $10, which I thought was a fantastic price. And it has these sprigs of, I think, spearmint. And it just smells amazing. In addition to looking beautiful.
It's Sunday and I'm not feeling great, so I stayed home from church. You can probably tell by my voice. In addition to resting and watching the online service, I have been working on next year's Reading the Classics Challenge. So that was fun.
And right now I'm waiting for my husband to bring me some lunch. And so I'm reading a little bit in Women's Diaries of the Westward Journey for the Prairie Trail Readathon. And if you were on the sprints, which were last night when I'm filming this, then you might remember that the first half of this book is like a history book, and it's referencing a lot of women's diaries. Like that's forms the primary basis of their information. And so it's about being on the trail, on the wagon trail, and going west from a women's perspective, and the particular emphasis that women would have had on family life and the chores that they did and having children and being a mom on the trail, etc., that sort of thing. But in this chapter that I'm currently reading, the second chapter, it's talking about the handful of single women that, now by single, like actually traveling alone independently, which was pretty rare actually. A lot of single women traveled with their families, so with their parents, marriageable aged women, older teens, young adults, like they would have traveled with their parents. But for a woman to travel completely independently was pretty weird, pretty unusual. So they have a diary of one woman, a very thorough diary. Rebecca Ketchum was her name. She kept a very lengthy diary with a lot of details about her experience on the trail and also her emotions. And what was unique about her journal is that a lot of the other journals and diaries were just recording facts, pretty basic details about daily life, whereas hers was about her feelings about everything she went through. But the thing that was making me stop and take notice of this particular account was how the author, Lillian Schlissel, the author of this book, she was saying how it was very unusual because this woman, Rebecca, she seems to have been ostracized by the other women in her company. Like a lot of the women on a wagon trail would stick together. In the previous chapter, in fact, she talked about how, like sometimes part of a train had to split off from another. And there were a couple of instances where a woman, like the wife of someone, would find herself with a few other wagons and no other women. And they desperately wanted to avoid such a scenario for a variety of reasons. And that was interesting to me because, I wouldn't want to do that either. Not to be gross or TMI, but like how they took care of private business on the trail. If you had another woman, like they could stand around you and provide like a screen of privacy. But if you're on your own and you can't wander far from the wagons, like you have to be within sight of the wagons because there's so many dangers on the trail and you need to be close enough for somebody to help you. But to be the only woman, like this makes you really vulnerable, right? And also there's no companionship, which is really important to a woman. So anyway, I'm going very far off the subject. The whole reason I just stopped to film this is because this particular single woman, Rebecca Ketchum, traveling on this wagon train, ostracized by the other women, by her own account, instead of riding in wagons with the other women, she ended up being stuck on a horse, riding with some of the other men and boys. And she describes her situation as being basically everybody else had it better than she did. But as I'm reading her own words, and I'm reading between the lines of what Lillian Schlissel is saying about her, Lillian Schlissel seems genuinely confused and perplexed as to why the other women treated her the way that they did. But I can tell you why they did, because she was one of those people who only saw the negative in anything and everything and never saw anything positive and put a negative spin and twist on every single thing. That does not explain why she had to pay more than other people, but I'm guessing it's because she was traveling independently as a woman and therefore could not contribute as much to the chores, etc. and stuff. And so I'm guessing if she had ever asked anybody, she would have been told plainly why she had to pay more, because that was one of her complaints, was she had to pay more than any of the other women. But the other women were traveling with men. And I think that she also maybe had paid less than the men. But again, that makes sense because the men would be expected to contribute physically to the success of the wagon train, but how much could she do? How much could she guard? How much could she hunt? How much could she do repairs on a wagon or any of the other things that required sheer physical brute force? And she found out on the trail after the fact that she actually had ended up paying more than other people. And so she just complained about it in her diary, and she thought it was unfair. And anyway, she had all of these other complaints about anything and everything, but reading between the lines, I could tell you she was just the kind of person who complained about everything, saw the negative in everything, put a negative spin or twist on everything. The fact that every other person in the whole wagon train company kept her arm's length tells me it wasn't that they were all mean and nasty people. Probably some of them were. It was that she tested their patience. And so keeping her at arm's length probably kept them from being actively mean to her. But that's my take on it. What do you think? Am I just being cynical? Because sometimes I am.
I finished reading Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon last night.
It is Monday afternoon, and I am, as you can probably tell by my very interesting voice, still not feeling great. I've spent the last day and a half in bed, but I need to soak up some sun right now. So I am outside on my deck and just willing that vitamin D to soak in. Because I have been lying around doing little but resting and reading, I've read a couple books. So, first of all, I finished Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon. And this one was so good. And I've realized that I'm really not great about telling you what books are about. So I'm going to try to be better about that. You may have already be very familiar with this book and already know, but it's historical fiction. It's about a family that travels on a wagon train west. And in particular, we have the focus of a young woman in the family. She's 19, 20, 21, something like that. She's a young adult. She's freshly widowed. Her husband died before they left for the trip. She's traveling with her family out west, but also with her husband's family. So there's a little bit of tension there. It's a bit of a strained relationship because you just have to read it to find out why. Okay. So anyway, so they're all going west. And when they get to St. Joseph, Missouri, and they're stocking up and everything, a young man joins the train, and he is the son of a mule breeder, and he's delivering mules to Points West. And he and our main female character fall in love. Naomi, the girl, she is a very spirited and feisty kind of girl. And she's the sort of person with a personality that she knows what she wants and she goes after it. Whereas John Lowry is his name. He's more of the kind of guy who's like still waters run deep sort of guy. He thinks a lot, he processes a lot. He moves slowly, but he feels deeply and he feels passionately. Also, what throws not a wrench into everything necessarily, but it adds to the potential for tension, etc., and to the potential for complication. He is part Pawnee. His dad is white and his mom was Pawnee. When he was very young, like 5 or 6 or something, his mom left him with his dad, and his dad's new wife ended up raising him. Her name was Jenny. I really loved the family bonds in this story. They were very real. They weren't perfect, particularly in John Lowry's family. There was a lot unspoken. There was a lot unsaid. Just a lot of unspoken things. I'm sorry. My brain is a little sluggish because I've not been feeling well. But I can't think of how else to put it. But so very reserved relationships, but deep and abiding love. Through the course of the story, he comes to understand his relationship with his parents better. And Naomi, she works through her grief and her tension with her former in-laws. And I'm sorry, I'm keeping my eye on this hornet, I think, over here. I feel like there's several of them playing around, so I may migrate inside here in a minute. That adds complications to it, just his mixed blood and the way, the way people perceive that and everything. But it does actually prove beneficial to the wagon train because he is able to communicate with various tribes that they meet along the way, and he's able to help smooth over some potential rough spots And he's able to make friends, in particular with a tribe of Shoshone people, because his family back in Missouri had helped a Shoshone woman once upon a time. So it's very good. It's a very heart-wrenching story, though. There's a lot of pain here. There's a lot of difficulty. There's a lot of trial. There's a lot of tragedy. I think any serious book set in the wagon train is going to be like that. There's just so much that they had to go through. I don't think you can tell a good story about that time, a realistic story, without bringing in some of that tragedy and some of that trauma. And so there's plenty of that in this book. There were points when I was sobbing and crying at the end, but it just kept me reading until like midnight. So, which was probably not the smartest thing for me to do for my health, but I couldn't stop. So it was very good, very compelling. I would knock off half a star or so for a couple of reasons. One, content reasons. I do think that there were a couple of scenes toward the end that were unnecessarily graphically described. I don't know exactly how to put this in such a way that's vague enough, but you know what I mean, without being explicit. Like, it's not designed to be titillating or arousing like the way it's written. Just gonna say it straight up. It's not written that way. It's more matter of factly, I guess. I don't know. But they are intimate scenes described in some detail. I didn't think that detail was necessary. I think she was just trying to portray the closeness and intimacy of their relationship and some certain points of healing because of different things that happened, etc. So I know that some people would not want to read that at all. And so I am mentioning it. I would prefer it not to have been in this book. I kind of skimmed through that part. So just be aware of that. It is a married couple, but and the book is not about that, but I wouldn't be able to put it in the clean category or even the closed door category because of that. It's not closed door scenes. And then there is a sprinkling of cussing throughout, mild cussing. That wasn't really enough to bother me, but just so you know. The other thing that drops it down a half star or so for me, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there was a particular thing at the end. It was a very convenient sort of ending. It was a tragic sort of thing that happened, but it happened in such a way as it solved another issue that the author had created plot-wise. I felt like there were several avenues she could have chosen to resolve that, but she chose the most convenient one, and it seemed a little contrived. So up until that point, I would have said it was very well written and there weren't any like major plot holes or things like that, and it was just well done. But that ending, not the whole ending, but that specific piece of the ending, I did not love. So that dropped it down a little bit for me. I did think as I was reading that book that the author must have read this as some source material or some part of her research, Women's Diaries of the Westward Journey, because she drew out a lot of the things presented in this book that are in that fiction story. So I think I mentioned this yesterday about, how women to relieve themselves on the trail, like other women would, kind of form a guard about them, that sort of thing, and how women helped each other. And there were other aspects of this book that are talked about at length in this book about the prairie trail and the wagon trail and how it was for women on the trail that I think were really drawn out in that fiction book. It felt like I was reading a fictional account based on this book. And so I feel like that was really well done. I am, I don't know, about half the way through this book. I'm still working through the history portions at the beginning of it. Haven't gotten to the actual diary entries, although the whole thing is liberally sprinkled with diary entries. The last third of the book or so is just straight journal entries, but they're liberally sprinkled throughout. Because I finished Where the Lost Wander at midnight, and I woke up this morning and didn't want to do anything, but I couldn't go back to sleep. So I wanted to read something. So I picked another card, and I'll show you that now.
I stayed up until midnight finishing it. It was just so good. So then this morning I drew another card, and sorry, this card is really poorly cut, but whatever. And I picked Fort, which is to reread a favorite, and I'm so excited. I'm going to read Love Comes Softly, which I have not read since I was a teenager, but I did love the series when I was a teenager, and Alma's been reading it, and that just has, stirred up the nostalgia, so I want to read it again. I'm looking forward to it. And also, I'm not feeling well, so I think I'm going to be in bed most of the day. Seems like perfect sick day reading material.
So, yes, I read Love Comes Softly, and I read it this morning. I read the whole thing. It took me like 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours. It was good. Like, the writing is pretty basic, honestly. It's pretty straightforward storytelling, but you just really grow to love the characters and the little world that is built in this small Western outpost. She doesn't even clarify where it is, I don't think, any point in the story. It could be anywhere out west in the US or Canada, honestly. I think probably later in this series it gets more clear where they are. I don't think it's ever explicitly stated. It's just that they traveled on the wagon out west and they had reached their destination and they had chosen their plot of land. And then at the beginning of the story, her husband passes away. So then it's a marriage of convenience with a second husband who needs someone to mother his child. And so it's how they make it work together. And it's just a really well done in terms of you get the running inner monologue of the main character Marty as she's dealing with on the day her husband dies and she's carrying their child. She's not very far along in the pregnancy, but far enough along to know that she's pregnant. And she loses her new husband. They've just arrived to start their life together really for the first time. And she's left all alone in the middle of the prairie where she's never lived. She has zero experience keeping house because like pretty much as soon as they got married they headed west. It's a completely new life, it's a completely new place. She has a nothing and she has no husband to take care of her. So on the day that happens to her, on the day of the funeral, a recently widowed man makes a proposition like, hey, you need somebody and I need somebody. The pastor's here but he's going to be leaving for the winter. What say we get married and make things work? And if you don't want to stay in the spring, I will send you back on the wagon trains going east. So she agrees because she's destitute and helpless and has like almost no options. So there's a small town, but what can she do there? Like she has no skills. So in her destitution and desperation, she agrees to marry him. And then it's about from there, like how they make it work and how they grow closer together, how she learns, how her faith journey goes in the meantime. So often, like those writers from that era, from the 90s, the 80s and the 90s, they get a bad rap for being really preachy in their books. But I actually did not find this to be a case at all when I was reading it. I mean, I was kind of like expecting it. I didn't think it was that at all. I think a lot of people look down on books like Janette and others, say that they're preachy. Now, you might say the writing is simplistic, and I wouldn't disagree. It's not poor writing. It's well done, but it's very straightforward. It's the style of narrative, and it's not like a difficult plot or anything. It's not complex. It's not literary fiction, but it's good. It's good storytelling, and you get drawn into these characters' lives, and you are rooting for them, and you want the best for them. And I really enjoyed it. And I also started watching the movie, which I found full length on YouTube. Don't tell anybody. I finished reading that, started and finished today. So now I need to draw another card. So I'm going to do that right now. Hold it like this and see. Oh, dysentery. This is great. Like the Lord knows I'm not feeling well, so I need these picks. Fort was to reread a favorite, and dysentery is to read a comfort read. But I have to think about it. What's left on my list that would be a comfort read? Let me go look at what I have. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so I think this will fit. Ironically, it's going to be very similar to in storyline to Love Comes Softly. It's basically the same idea. This woman is out west. Her husband dies, but she has older children. She's not like newly married, but her husband dies and she's left trying to start a life in the wilderness on her own. It may be slightly more established than that, but like I think she has a house and everything, but it's still kind of the same idea. And so it's a marriage of convenience. So very similar idea. And this means that I'm getting the like easy reading all done in the beginning of the month, which means that I'm leaving the heavier reading for later on in the month. But you know what? It's only August 3rd. We've got 28 days to go. So there's plenty of time for me to dig into the deeper books. But right now, the way I'm feeling, this is actually perfect. Just romance, even though it does mention in the blurb some slightly heavier topics that we might get into, I do think that it's just going to be a fun read, a comfort read. And I'll continue working on this one, which Women's Diaries, which is hardly a comfort read, but it is interesting nonetheless. And now I'm going to go inside because hopefully I got enough vitamin D. I'm pretty hot and sweaty now. See you next time. That looks amazing. Love Comes Softly. That vintage copy. Yeah. These are like... Well, this video is turning out to be a Haulin and Unhaulin sort of video. The most recent clip that you saw, my husband and I went to McKay's Books the other day. You've probably heard other booktubers, particularly Southern booktubers, talking about McKay's used books. My McKay's in Virginia is affiliated with those loosely. A branch of the same family started it, but it's different. That's all I'm gonna say. But it's still a McKay's. So, and it's the best place for me to bring books. So my husband and I brought a box, well, one big box and one little box of books to McKay's to Unhaul. I went through my Pango shelves and I took everything off that hadn't had any interest in it, that had been on there a while, that wasn't in any carts, didn't have eyes on it, wasn't on any shelves, etc. And then I turned those in, got a pittance for them, but I was able to pick up a few other books for myself that caught my eye, and I still have a little bit of credit left over. So here's what I found. Echoes of a Silent Song by Amanda Wen. This was a fantastic find, and it was only $1.89. Amanda Wen is a Christian author that I've been wanting to try because I've heard really good things from other booktubers who have read her books. She sounds like the sort of author I would really like, with kind of in-depth story, like maybe more like women's fiction than romance. And also, this one features a choral composer, and Echoes of a Silent Song, like the music aspect of it, appeals to me for obvious reasons if you know me at all. So, Echoes of a Silent Song by Amanda Wen, I was very happy to see that for $1.89. Also, in the last few weeks, I've been talking a lot about Eat to Beat Your Diet by Dr. William Li, and this is the actual hard copy of the book, which was $4.74. I have it on Kindle, but there's a decent cookbook section in here, and I hate digital cookbooks. Like, I can't stand digital cookbooks. I don't know. There's something about a digital book that does not function well as a cookbook, and so I learned a while ago I don't use Kindle for cookbooks. However, I will say that this book is much more than a cookbook. It's very informative. It has a lot of stuff. I probably won't reread a lot of the informative things, but it's also nice because he has lists in here, which I was looking online and I wasn't finding anywhere online where there was like a PDF of these lists to print out and work through. And then he has also these forms for journaling prompts and stuff. So I find that much more convenient to use than the Kindle. So I picked that up. And then this author, I have met her a couple of times at author shows in my area, which, by the way, like last year there were so many, but I have not seen hardly any advertised this year, and it's usually around this time of year that I see them advertised, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I haven't been able to go to any recently, but I've met this author, Janette Sebring, at 2 or 3 of those events that I've been to the past couple of years. And her book sounds really interesting. She's a Christian author. This book is called Fearful Breakers. It's part of the first book in a series. I don't know if any of the others in this series are out yet. And I think I would probably enjoy the book. The only thing that gives me pause is it is set, the title of the series will give you a clue, Chart and Compass. It is set largely at sea, I think, and it features a sailor or a merchant. I don't love books set at sea. It's kind of a bit of an anti-buzzword for me, but at the same time, having met her and talking to her a little bit, and it's historical fiction, which I do love that. So I'm willing to give it a try. I love to read local authors whenever I can, so I am excited to give this one a try. And you know your girl loves her coffee, so I got this Coffee Love 50 Ways to Drink Your Java. So this just has a lot of different ways, particularly international ways to fix your coffee. They go through different coffee cultures around the world and have, you know, recipes for coffees from that culture, which is cool. I know when I went to southwestern Florida earlier in July, they have a mix of Italian influence in their coffee culture and Cuban. And so they had like very traditional Italian coffee houses. In fact, we went to one that was owned by an Italian family. So everything on that menu was very Italian, and it was cooked. It was brewed and made according to the Italian method, which of course the Italians invented espresso. So that's really like the standard. But they also had Cuban coffee, which has its own twist on things. And they have a Cubano and a Cortado and all of these kinds of drinks. So the Spanish Cuban coffee houses also were a lot of fun. And then there were some more kind of blended hybrid coffee shops that had a little bit of everything. And then there was, you know, the more like generic American hip coffee shops that just had, you know, whatever they wanted to do in there. Anyway, that was a lot of talking about coffee. Back to the whole Haulin and Unhaulin thing. So my church, once or twice a year, coordinates with a local organization to do a clothing giveaway for people who are needy in our community. And so I use that opportunity to go through my closet and my drawers and just unhaul any clothes that I haven't worn in a while. So it is really time for me to do that now. And if it doesn't take too long, I'm going to be videoing the process here. And then there's more hauling to come, because this afternoon I'm going to meet my husband at an estate. My sister did an auction there. I helped process the auction. And when I was processing it, I was like, oh, I'm going to want to bid on some of these lots, because the woman, I don't know if she had a business or if she just had a major hobby, but she had tons of tons of crafting supplies. Okay. So there was a whole wall in a room in the basement, and it was a large room, and it was a long wall that was filled with stamps and stamping supplies, like for cards and note cards, that kind of thing, stationery, but also some other kinds of crafts as well, just like generic craft supplies. So much. Shelves, drawers, piles, like so much. And then there was another room that had almost the same amount as well. So I won a few things, spent less than $30, but won a few lots. And so my husband and I are going to go there to pick it up today, and I have to sort through it and figure out what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to get rid of or give away. A lot of it I think I can give to coworkers at school and see if they can find use for it. Anyway, so unhauling though, some of my clothes. These are shorts and they don't go in the closet. Every now and then, someone else in this house puts my clothes away. All right. Oh, this is cool. My friend her husband went to India, and she has someone there who makes these skirts. And she's like, hey, do you want a skirt? And so she sent me a couple pictures of floral patterns, and I picked this one. And I keep forgetting that I have it. So I'm going to hang this here because I'm going to wear this on Sunday. All right. Oh, I really like that jean skirt. So keeping that. So far, I haven't gotten rid of anything. Okay, I like that basic black knit skirt. I have a lot of black, but I wear a lot of black. Okay, this one, just a basic khaki-ish straight skirt. I don't need that. I can't remember between the two of these. I feel like one of these didn't fit as well. Okay, it would have been this one that didn't fit as well. You know what? We are going to get rid of this one. Another like straight skirt. I like these for work. I love the pattern on that one, but just did not fit as comfortably. Work pants are hard to come by, so yeah, these blue ones, I don't think I wore these hardly at all. I like that color though, but off they go. Well, those are my super comfy pants. Love super comfy pants. I liked these ones, these dark green pants. I wore them a lot. Oh, this might have been the gray pair I didn't wear as much. Yeah, and it's Talbot's, so someone will like those. And these green pants also, I believe I did not wear as much last year. So off the green pants go. Yeah, these ones, I like them, but they have like this zipper at the, like, I don't know. These ones were hard to make work with boots during the winter, which I'm almost always wearing boots in the winter. I never could find the right combination of boots and pants with those, so off they go. I'm telling you, basic black. A girl needs basic black. That one is newish. I love that one. Always get compliments on this one. This one I didn't wear as much, and that's Anne Klein. Most of these I find at a thrift store. Like 99%. Sometimes Marshalls or Ross. Okay. This one, I don't love the colors for some reason in this pattern as much. I end up not wearing it. So out it goes. This is very limited usage, and that frustrates me. Like, there's only like a few weeks in the spring when this works, and then I don't have much to wear it with. So I'm gonna offload that one, but it's super cute. Okay, sweaters. I wear sweaters all the time. So, especially during certain portions of the year when it, like, the elbow seasons, before and after summer. Around here, it's winter in the morning and summer in the afternoon. So you have to have layers. So I really can't get rid of any of these sweaters. I will get rid of this one. This one I've had for a long time, and the sleeves have gotten, like, tight with washing and stuff. Also has very specific limited usage. I love this one. This was a newer acquisition. All right, and then this one, I like it, but I don't know, it just fits oddly. So I love this one. I just don't think I ended up hardly wearing this at all this summer. It's really cute though. Okay, now summer dresses, which I have a lot of, but I wear a lot of. I do love this one. I feel like it's a little bit dated, but it's so cute. Like, it's also a little bit outside my normal style, but I love it for a Sunday morning in the summer. This one is basic, and it's nice to have basics, but I don't know. The color I don't love. Coral is not a color that I gravitate towards. I like the simplicity of the style, but I think we'll pass that on. This one is so light. I love wearing that in the summer too. And then this one also is just so light and airy. I just got this on clearance at Marshall's. It is my first day of school dress. So I love this. 20 bucks at Marshall's on clearance. It's long. And it looks like it's buttoned down, but it's not, which I like because I like the look of button down, but I don't actually like button down because I'm always worried that the buttons are going to unbutton. My husband and I got this in Hawaii. My husband bought me this dress for Mother's Day or my birthday, which are around the same time, years ago. And I really love it. It's like a very classic style. I hate wire hangers. Why do I have a wire hanger? I'm telling you, it's difficult to get rid of dresses for me because I wear them all summer long. Okay, this one, it's cute. Like, I wore it quite a bit, but then I don't think I've worn it at all this summer, and I don't know that I wore it last summer either. So, and then this one, I like it, but I don't know. It's a little too business-like for me. I'm not really very business-like. Oh, these are the pants that go with the sari. I was like, what is this? Figured it out. Oh, goodness. So this is the sari. Isn't that beautiful? The detail on that embroidery. And of course, I don't have many reasons to wear it, but it's beautiful. And then I have this Regency dress. Got this from Amazon. So it was like cheap, like 20 bucks or whatever. Regency style dress. So yeah. All right. Well, I have a small bag so far to get rid of, but I'm going to go through my shoes and bags and my folded clothes, my drawers, and see what else I can unhaul, and hopefully I'll have a decent amount. So, this whole bag, that's heavy. There's a lot of shoes in there. Got rid of a lot more shoes than I thought I would. And then this grocery sack. Yeah, it's good. Feels good to unhaul. Okay, this is the haul from the auction. I got these boxes of books. It's all Christian fiction, Christian nonfiction. There's a box below that. This box is full, this bigger box here. And then there's more here. I'm not keeping all of these. I have plans for a lot of them. And then
I got a shelf lot of craft supplies. And again, not keeping everything, taking what I can use, and then I'm planning on giving and selling the rest. Actually, there's more bags over here full of craft stuff that I have to sort through. This rolling bin, also full of craft supplies that I can use for my blind dates with a book. And I loved all of the scissors in here. The different types of scissors that will come in very useful. I'm not a super crafty person, but some of the things in this lot will come in useful and handy for me. So, and then I'm also very excited. I got this trampoline, this exercise trampoline for $2. So right now in the summer, my husband and I are going on walks pretty regularly. The past couple of weeks, not as much, but pretty regularly. We've been going on nice walks. We've been doing some interval walking, and we've been pretty faithful. But in the winter, we know we're not going to be. So I am happy to have this inside. We're talking about a possible gym membership, but if nothing else, I'm going to jump on this trampoline. So to wrap this up, I don't have much new to report. I am still working, although I'm almost finished, with the women's diaries of the Westward journey. And I've talked a lot about that already, but I'm really enjoying it. I have, I think, 2 more journals to go, and they're not very long. So I might finish that tonight or tomorrow. And then I'm still working on Romancing the Bride. To be perfectly honest, it's not poorly written or anything. I'm just struggling to really be invested in the story. There's a lot going on. There are a lot of layers, and it's just me. I'm not, I guess, really in the mood for it right now. And so I'm not picking it up very quickly, and so I'm not quite halfway through that one. I would have expected it to be a quicker read, and I really need to get started on some other reading. So I'm going to finish up the diaries, and then it's maybe later tonight, and pick up another book. I guess you will find out next week what I pick up. Another cliffhanger, guys. I've busy. Like I'm already stressing out a little bit about everything that needs to happen this weekend, next week, and the week after, and then school starts. So yeah, I'm gonna be busy. So my summer is, you know, pretty much my relaxing and wonderful summer that I have had and I've really enjoyed has come to a grinding halt. And now all of a sudden we are on the hamster wheel of life. That's where we are right now. So heading off into that hamster wheel pretty much as soon as I hit stop on this recording. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about anything on this video. Let's chat. I love chatting with you. See you next time. Bye.